Halachos. Let's start. Okay. So everyone, thank you for joining again our wonderful little chabura here in Efrat. And we're going to continue our lesson today in Metz Hashem in Likutey Halachos. We're in Hilchos Hashkamas Haboker Aleph, and we're up to letter Ches. So just to remind ourselves where we were up to, what we were discussing, we're talking about this idea of Tiskaber, Kari, to serve the Rebbeinu Shalom in the morning. How are you going to do that? How are you going to serve the Rebbeinu Shalom with a vigor in the morning, like in a lion? A lion roars like with a vigor. So you have to find something good inside you. You have to find an Nekuda Taiva inside you. I'm just giving you a little background so you understand. And what that means is, we have a Yetzer Hara, and he works overtime. So he's going to try to tell us all the time that good, and there's a lot you're missing, and even the things you did good, are they really good, and so on. Right? That's why today we have so much anxiety, so much depression, and so much because the Yetzer is really working very, very hard with people. So what they do is they turn to doctors and they take all kind of antidepressants and they take all kind of medication and they're on weed and all the different things because they get their mind off of what it is. But the Rebbe is telling us here in the morning, we get up in the morning, if we search something out, something good in us, we find something good. So then even though the Yetzer is going to say that something that you did was it really good? So then you can find even a point in that good thing that was always going to be pure. The example I like to always give is that even in every sheker, in every lie, there's still some truth. There's always some truth in a lie. It also can't exist. So how could it be if that works like on a sheker? How can it be that if you did a mitzvah, right? Like we said, if a person gave tzedakah, let's say, right? So the guy may have stole the money. So he gave tzedakah with stolen money, really? But maybe there was 10 cents in that 10 agurot in the whole sum of money that was actually his, that he gave, that was pure, and latch on to that. Why? Because we said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in charge of everything in the world, right? And like the first Animami Shlem Yisrael is Boish Magu Voidi Yamanika with Cholam Ruvu Hulu Vadi Osa Boisa V'Yasam Cholamas. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does everything. But the Chazal teach us that really HaKadosh Baruch Hu is involved in all good directly. Again, whatever that means. When it comes to things that are seemingly bad in the world and punishment in the world, Hashem has His malah, His shluchim. Right. So when you find something good inside yourself, you're mamish connecting yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And how do we figure that out? Because the Zohar says, Kuchabrichu Arais of Yisrael Kul Echad, right? The Rebbeinu Shalom, Klal Yisrael, Hashem, the Klal Yisrael, and the Torah is one unit. What does that mean? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is one with the Torah, and we have a chelik elikami mal inside of us. We have our neshama, which is a piece of the Rebbeinu Shalom inside of us. So that's how we're connected. So when we can connect to our neshama, so then we, of course, then we're connecting to the Rebbeinu Shalom. And how are you connecting to the neshama? Through a mitzvah that you did, and that's the Torah. That's something that you did of a mitzvah in the Torah, and that's how you can be connected, and that's how you can, that'll cause the person then to see that he's really good, is something good, right? And it takes time to do this, but the person will work on it, and he'll see that it's really good, he'll feel good, and then it'll cause him to be doing the right thing. Like we said, Rabbi Nachman teaches that what's the biggest mitzvah that's not an actual mitzvah per se, and what's the biggest avera? It's not an avera per se. You know what that is? That's simcha, right? There's no mitzvah to be besimcha. There's no mitzvah of simcha. There's not one of the 630 mitzvahs to be happy. But if a person's happy, it'll lead him to do all the mitzvahs. Happiness will bring the person to do good things because he feels good. Depression is not an avera, but if a person feels depressed, he feels connected to the Yetzer Hara, and then of course he's going to do all the wrong things, and he's going to get in all trouble. So let's see where we're up to now. Okay, so that was just a preview where we were up to, so everyone knows where we're up to. Okay, now Ches. So we know in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Mishkan, in the Beis Hamikdash, right? So the Kahanim, they were involved in the Avodah, right? They would eat, well, it wasn't always the Kohen that did the Shechita, but most of the time the Kohen did do the Shechita as well, and then they would collect the blood, and then they would sprinkle the blood in the avodah that they were involved in. We had the Levium b'duchanim. The Levium were the what do you call it, the band, the music. They were the music that went along with the avodah. And then we had the Yisrael b'mamodam. The Yisrael, they were learning Torah, and they were doing their thing. So we'll see. Yika tikena korban hu shehu limsaya levara nekuda taiva mitoich psailas v'nechinas habahamias. Right. So what is the whole idea of finding the nekuda taiva? You have psailas. What's psailas? It's junk. Psailas is junk, right? You have to look through it. The example we said yesterday was like this: if you let's say you're going to pick a potato, right? I don't know if you ever did that. Potatoes are grown in mostly muddy areas, right? It's muddy areas and it's underneath. So you pick up the potato, and it's all full of mud, and it's all full. It's like it doesn't look good. It's a lot of psailas around it. But when you wash it off, when you clean it up, it's great. Right? You can make fries, you can do whatever you want, make a roast baked potato, whatever you want with it. And then we said the other thing is also like gold, when you would mine gold nuggets. So it's again it's not in the nicest thing when the gold is not very clean when you get it, but the gold is beautiful, right? Gold is nice, it's pure. All precious things come with psailas around it. Why is that? A mashal for the nimshal. Really, we may have things in us that are really good, but yeah, they cover with a little bit of junk because of the outside stuff, but really it's pure. Really it's very pure. Okay? Now, who ayedei hakoyin isha chesed. So how can you do this? You need the chesed. We spoke about the idea of Avram Avinu, right? Avram Avinu was, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said he's a koyin li'olam, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that to Avram Avinu. He's a koyin. Avram Avinu is the need of chesed. Right? So if you do chesed with yourself, how do you do chesed with yourself? Judge yourself favorably. Judge yourself favorably. Instead of being so hard on ourselves, judge ourselves in a nice way. Because if I turn towards chesed, towards Avram Avinu, right? Towards chesed, and I can judge myself favorably, I could find nekudas, I could find good points in even all the lower levels. It doesn't matter if once I'm in the program and I'm looking for it, I'll be able to find it. Right? If you can't, they say like this. They say, the problem is a hastara and there's a hastara shebesoich hastara, right? Hasta is panai, right? That the Torah says. That's how we know Esther and Torah, right? So what's the problem with hasta? The problem when there's one level of Hester, where I know HaKadosh, I know there's HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I know there's goodness in me, I know there's a Torah, I know that I'm looking for it. I'm looking for what's a Hastara. I don't even know I'm looking for anything. I don't even know there's something there to look for. That's what a double hiding is. I don't even know I'm looking for it. So here, when the person is already in the program and he's looking for it, Nikuda said, it doesn't matter. I'll search for it even in those low things because I'll find something good even in the low things. That's the idea of the carbon that was brought from an animal. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu set up that we bring it from an animal? An animal is very coarse, smelly, right? What's an animal? Right? But we know when we brought a carbon, we were supposed to feel that I was really the one supposed to be standing here. This is really supposed to be me that's getting slaughtered because of what I did. I made a mistake. I did something wrong. But really, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it that the animal can take my place. When we do the kaparas, right? Right, when we do the chicken and the thing, we say zeh chalafasi zeh trumasi zeh atarnago leilech lemis v'ani kanis leilech chayim atayim l'sholem. Right? What is it? Because this chicken is going for me. That's something I'm giving you an example that we have even today. That will do those that use a chicken for the. Did you do that, David? Yeah, I'm sure. Well, not everybody does it. Some people take money. Right? Some people use money, they use the value of a chicken, whatever. But that's an idea. So in there is when you recognize I may have acted in an animalistic way, like the Tanya says, right? The nefesh habahamas, right? I may have indulged my nefesh habahamas, right? But there's still something good within that. There's still something good within that. V'al kain kol tikunei hakorban nasen ayidei hakoyin ish hachesed. Therefore, the whole tikkun of the korban is done through the koyin ish hachesed. What does that mean? You know, when the kahanim were sitting and they were eating the sacrifice, right? A part of the sacrifice went to the koyin, right? So the Chazal tell us that while the kohen was eating, that's how we affected our kapara. We got our forgiveness via the way the kohen was eating. When the kohen was eating, that affected. That was the actual the makav patish, so to say, of the korban. Shehu bechinas Avram k'moshe kasav ata kohen liyolam, as it says in Tehillim. Ata Kohen Li'olam was talking about Avraham Avinu. Aydezeh Nasin Nigun, and that's how you can make song. What does it mean? You make song. You can make song in your life, because again, when you feel that you're good, and you feel so, then you have you feel to sing a niggin. You feel good. You feel good. But if a person feels down and he's out with himself, and he's only going to be involved in gloomy things. He's not going to want to be involved. But when you find something good and you feel that you're good, you're mamish involved in it. Okay. Yisrael b'mamadam, shayu oiskim b'Torah. The Jewish people were standing and they were doing their thing. What were they doing? They were studying Tevzeh b'chinas hadibur.
Ask a question.
Yes.
Do we know where it's in Chazal that in Tehillim it says Ata Kohen is is Avram Avinu?
Yeah.
That's like a known.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It is. Yeah. V'ata Kohen li'olam.
Because he doesn't just take it back to the vote of the Kohen, and Aaron is representative of. Of
course, it's even further.
The Merkav of Chesed.
A Merkav of Chesed.
The Chesed, like that whole Chesed.
The pipeline of Chesed
refines the animal and the korban, and so too also. In of Chesed that we could refine in ourselves a little.
We need we have to activate the Chesed inside of us. We have to activate. How do you activate it? By connecting back to Avraham Avinu, by the midah of Chesed. Avraham Avinu, because we know Avraham Avinu is on the right side of the Merkava, which is Chesed. Yaakov Avinu, Yitzchak is on the left. And Yaakov Avinu is in the center, is Tferes, which is the balance between. It's no good to have too much chesed, no good to have too much gvura, because you have too much chesed, you have a Yishmael, too much gvura, you have an Onesself, right? But you have Yaakov Avinu, which is the perfect balance between chesed and gvura. You have the shiftei kar, exactly. Nachon, very good. Okay, Valkein, was that okay? You okay, David? Good? Beautiful. Okay, Valkein. Anshe Amayim et Koyrim beParshas Bereshis, the Parshas Hazinu. The two things that they would study while they were bringing the korban, we're getting some nice information over here, right? How many people would know this otherwise? While the Kohanim the Jewish people that were there, they were studying. What were they doing? They were studying Parshas Bereshis and Parshas Hazinu. Those two parshas. That's what they were reading from the Torah. Why were they reading those parshas? Ki Maaseh Bereshis Hikarai Al Yedei Beirur HaToiv Bechinas V'Tuvay Mechadesh B'Chol Yom Tamid Maaseh Bereshis. This is a very fascinating thing. Rab Nosson writes, based on the teachings of Rabbi Nachman, many times that there's an idea of Chiddush HaOlam, right? Chiddush HaOlam. What's Chiddush HaOlam, guys? What's Chiddush HaOlam? The world is always new. The world is always new. The world is always something brand new in the world that didn't exist before. It's a brand new world today. There's an expression they say, you ask someone, how you doing? Same old, same old. Nonsense. That's the Yetzer Hara talking. Same old, same old. It's not true. We just said in davening a couple of minutes ago, we say, Mechadesh b'tuvay b'chol yoim tamid ma'aseh bereishis. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is making, it's a brand new world today. I'm not the same old guy that I was yesterday. I'm not the same guy I was a minute ago. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always renewing. So why do people again, Rav Nosson is trying to drill this into our head with so many different ways to understand that a guy will say, look, I was, my father was doing this and my grandfather did, so then I like someone will say, I'm a Baal Kas. The guy likes to get angry. Well, my father was angry and my grandfather, what do you want from me? And we're all angry. We're angry people. But you just said a minute ago, you don't have to stay that way. You can change at any given time. If you really believe in Chiddush HaOlam, the world is always new. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, through through the Maseh Bereshis, every day Hashem said it was Tov. He said it was Tov, right? Ki koydem tikkun Maseh Bereshis nemavar it's hayat tzayu v'voyu v'choshech. Right? The world was void, empty. It was dark. There was nothing there. And that's the idea of Maseh Bereshis, that the darkness is covering over the Tov. Again, in the actual creation of the world was first Choshech al Pnei Sahaim, right? The world was very, very dark, but there was goodness in there. So you have to uncover the goodness, and then you can find the Tov. Tikkun hayadei bechidas v'ruach elikim and ruach elikim marachefes. Hakadosh Baruch Hu was hovering. What does marachefes means? It was like some kind of a hovering over it. Hakadosh Baruch Hu was over it. V'zeh ruach shel Mashiach. And that, what does it mean that Hakadosh Baruch Hu is marachefes? That's the ruach of Mashiach. HaKadosh Baruch Hu already had Mashiach, was already in creation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu accounted for everything that was going to go on in the world. That's what the Zohar says in Parshas Vayechi. Okay? Shehu bechinas hatov, that's the good. Of course, Mashiach Tzidkenu is good, and we're waiting any moment, Chaver, any moment. With Mamush, with the Ikvis HaMashiach. In Mashiach right now. Ki kol ha'nekuda is tov shemaitzian b'chol echad miYisrael, zeh bechinas is noitzis Mashiach. Wow. Wow, look at this. Look at these words, right? David, it's amazing. Each time you find something good, it's a spark of Mashiach that you're revealing. You're revealing a spark of Mashiach. Why is that? Why are you revealing a spark of Mashiach? Right? Because it's very simple. Everybody, the Chazal tell us, every one of us can be responsible bringing Mashiach. Now, you'll ask the question, how could I be responsible for being Mashiach? Who am I? Who are we today? Right? We had Moshe Rabbeinu, we had Aharon, we had the Nevi'im, the Shayf, we had the Tanoim, the Amoraim, we had the Rishayim, and they couldn't bring Mashiach. So how am I going to bring Mashiach? This is the point here. You know how you can bring Mashiach? Because everything we do, it's on a scale. It's on a scale. So right now the scale is tipped to Golus. But each time we do another mitzvah, we put another little thing on the other side. So who knows who's going to do one mitzvah to be that one mitzvah? It'll go on the scale to tip it to Geula. It's in Golus now, but that scale, there's a scale, right? So the scale is now down on Golus. It's lower. But then as you keep putting on Geula, that one, you need that one little tiny thing, and the scale moves over. Right? You ever see them in the store? You ever see them when they were doing that? They'll put a little bit extra, and then it would jump down, right? That's what Chazal teach us. That's how it is. So that's what it means. A ruach of Mashiach. You have an tzitz of Mashiach, because then you're going to do more good. See, that's the focus. When you feel good because you found something good, then you're going to do good. You'll do mitzvahs, and then you're in the program. That makes sense? Anyone have any questions? No. Wow. Okay.
It seems almost that it's not even just the mitzvah. It's even finding
the
good in yourself is a spark.
Of course, nachon, because you found that you did a mitzvah. You now qualified that thing that you thought was not qualified. You just now qualified it. Yeah, you redeemed it. You qualified it. You redeemed it. Yes, amazing, right? Ki ikra toiv u'mashiach. But it's even more than that, David. Yes, you're right. That the nekuda toiv itself is so beautiful. It's so amazing. But really, it's going to put the person in the right mind frame to do more. It'll be that he'll be able to azamer l'lekai be'oidi. You missed a few things, but we'll catch up. Okay, David. Zebechinas Moshe. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu, we know is going to be Mashiach. What the Zohar says, Moshe Rabbeinu is Mashiach. Who knows, right? We know it's Mashiach. We know that Mashiach is going to be. We have a Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David, right? But the Zohar says that Mashiach is Moshe Rabbeinu. Bechinas v'haya ba'ikir ki yigalech toiv yigol. And the morning that you reveal the good, you'll go out. Look at this. You'll go out. You can go out on the day that you reveal the bechinas ruach elikim, ruach taiva, ruach shel Mashiach. Binyan ha'olam, and that's how the world was built. Hakadosh Baruch Hu took the good, and he built from the darkness, from everything else. He built by the first day, the second day, each day he built another thing. It was toiv. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said it was toiv. That's the nekudas toivus that you can pull out, that you could find within the darkness of each and every one of our own lives. Anyone can do this. Hashem said, "Let there be light," and in fact, it was light. And here you go. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a separation between light and darkness. How does that work? Watch this. Because when you find that nekuda taiva, you could mamish be meritus. You could be exonerated. You mamish lekav schus. It's amazing. You find the nekuda taiva, and now you're judged favorably. This is real. In other words, find that nekuda taiva in you, connect to the Rebbeinu Shalom, connect to the Torah, and then you're mamish, you're meritus. You become meritus. V'azayin iskala or v'nivdal. And that's how you can now, the same way the Rebbeinu Shalom made a separation from light and darkness, you can now make the separation in your own life. Every one of us can do this, to make the separation in our own life from bad and good. I can make that, I can know this is good, this is bad. This is right, this is wrong. Hara min atoiv. So now you see that the whole point of Masa Bereshis was what? Was to find the goodness. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did this himself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he did this himself. There was darkness, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the light from within the darkness. And this is what we can do. We have to emulate exactly what the Rebbeinu Shalom did. He did this in creation. We can do this within ourselves. That's the formation of the Mishkan. The way the Mishkan was built, right? The Mishkan, that was a microcosm, so to say, of creation. The way the Mishkan was created. Now, why the Mishkan? Right? The Mishkan was all of the taiv. What was the taiv? Right? We'll say just now one more time. The Mishkan was this. Everyone had to bring Moshe Rabbeinu told us to each give a machzas a shekel. Right? We all had to bring the half a shekel. Right? And it said that it doesn't matter if you're poor, sell your shirt. Strange. What does the Torah says? If you have to give the machzas a shekel. If you have the money, you can't. A rich man can't give more, and a poor man, if he doesn't have, sell your shirt. Would the Torah want anyone ever to? What is this? Why is the Torah so? What's a good word for that? So strict. Yeah, that every Jew has to give this thing, because what did they use the machzas shekel for?
Adanim.
The Adanim of the Mishkan. What were the Adanim? That was the foundation. The foundation of the Mishkan. So every Jew is part and parcel of the Mishkan. Every single Jew had an equal part and parcel in the Mishkan. Fascinating, right? That's why when the Jews, so the Kahanim were doing their Avodah, the Levium were doing their song, right? And the Jewish people were studying. What were they studying? Maseh Bereshis. While the Karbanis were going on, when it says that the Jewish people, it was the Mamid of the Jewish people, what were they doing? They were studying Parashat Bereshis. Ki HaKarban bechinas Maseh Bereshis. Because the carbon, again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the animals, everything within the 6 days, right? Within the 6 days of creation. Then Shabbat. Shu bechinas Be'er HaToiv. V'alkein haya Karban nasa b'mishkan. And that's why the carbon was done and performed where in the Mishkan or the Beis HaMikdash. Ki HaMishkan v'Beis HaMikdash heim gam kein nivnim ayedei be'er hatayv. The same way HaKadosh Baruch Hu built the world out of goodness, He took the world from darkness and He pulled out from the darkness he found good, and he made everything beautiful and delightful in the world, was all taiv, so too we have to do that. So here Rav Nosson is making this beautiful connection. The wonderful mountain Hara Bayis, which belongs to Klal Yisrael, not those Reitzchim, okay? And it'll be revealed very, very soon. It'll be very, very, very soon. So let's just wrap this up, okay? So we started off by saying like this. We started off by saying the Kohanim, and they were doing their avodah. Leviim were doing their duchan. They were doing their song. And the Yisrael was Mamamadam. They were studying. What were they studying? They were studying two things. So far we learned today they studied Parshas Masa Bereshis. Why Masa Bereshis? The same way HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, that it was all dark, and it was darkness, Chayshach al Pnei Tahaim, right? But there was Merachefes. What was Merachefes? We said that's the Ruach of Mashiach, right? That's the Ruach of Mashiach, right? We're just recapping what we studied. That's the Ruach. So when we find the good inside of us, that's a spark of Mashiach, like we spoke about, right, David? Right? That's the spark of Mashiach because we're connecting to the Chesed, we're connecting to Avraham Avinu, the source of Chesed. Avraham Avinu is the midah of Chesed because it says Ataka Koyin Li'olam. That's Avraham Avinu, and then we would find that good in us. Then we would use that Chesed to find the good in us. To recognize that that Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us the ability to bring an animal in lieu of myself. That's fascinating. That's a fascinating thing. That I can redeem myself by bringing an animal. It's a fascinating concept, is it not? It's a fascinating concept. I can bring an animal to redeem myself. Wow, that's a chesed from Hashem. That he did that. That he made an animal that we could do these things. It's fascinating. But again, the main thing is, we could always judge ourselves favorably via doing that, connecting to that Nakuda Taiva, we could be done ourselves l'kav schus. And we have to connect to the midah of chesed and do chesed with ourselves. How do we do chesed with ourselves? Judging ourselves favorably. Any questions? No? Okay. Shkayach.